Rich Bartle! Hey! Rich Bartle!
Alright.
That's right. I hope we won't hear that. That's Mark, by the way. This is Mark Slaughter to my left there. You're right. Unless you're backwards facing the back wall. I'd like to welcome you all back. To those of you who were here last year. Some of you probably stayed. Show of hands who stayed from last year, didn't even go home. Okay. There you are. I knew there were going to be a few. People came by bus, by train, by car, by plane,
by moped,
walk, Japan, Switzerland, all over the world. That was last year. American Noize Fan Forum 1994. If you weren't there last year, you missed a great experience. We're going to do a little recap right now because we started it last year with a pretty emotional beginning. We brought Tim Kelly up first to speak about his personal experience, what was going on in his life, and what was happening with the band Slaughter. And we're going to start that again this year. And then we're going to get on each panel member, let them all know what's going on. You can ask questions at any time, butt in at any time. Tell me to shut up at any time. I just want to let you all know that my mom doesn't care that I'm not going to be a doctor anymore. Okay? She's accepted it. Finally accepted it. But first and foremost, I'd like to get this panel started. We need more chairs. Just chuck one from the back. Toss one, Rich. Are you enjoying yourself, first timers? You're all going to be back next year? I'll be here then. I got a reason for living now.
We might be on tour.
I think everybody's here. If you're all here at the panel, raise your hand. Okay, good. Right. That's good. Well, let's get this started. Serious note, last year, Tim had some great things to say about life, personal tragedy, and getting over it. We're going to let Tim take off right now.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
I want to start off by saying I feel a hell of a lot better this year than I did last year.
Looking good too, damn it.
I went through probably one of the most difficult things in my life, and a lot of people, you've heard about it or read about it in magazines. And it was about an incident that occurred in my life back in 1987. And I don't really need to get into that because I think most of you know what happened. But the most important thing that I want to tell everybody here is that a lot of people in these rooms and a lot of other people on the outside and Metal Edge readers and people that have written letters to Michelle and American Noize fan club really helped me through one of the roughest times in my life, as well as the members of Slaughter who stood behind me through this whole thing. And you know, there was a good chance I wouldn't have been here this year, and I'm here this year. And about a week before I came here, I reviewed the videotape of this very moment last year, and it was a weird experience for me, and it definitely touched me, and it was hard for me to think, and you know, my priorities have changed so much since then. Now I can look back on things and know that, you know, the bottom line for me, I'm kind of going blank here a little bit, I'm a little nervous. The bottom line for me is that sometimes really bad things happen to people, and really good things come out of it. And when I listen to the new Slaughter record, there's songs that we were doing demos for this time last year that when I hear them, it reminds me of what I was going through. And I feel that some of the intensity on the album and some of the music that was written and some of the vibe that you get from it came out of some of the hard times. And it wasn't just what I went through, it was what a lot of guys in the band went through. With Dana got in a motorcycle accident, Mark had surgery, Blas had his knee surgery. We all went through a real weird time, you know, and it provided for, it was bad luck.
I feel really good now.
No, but it was really good, and basically I want to keep this short, and I just want to say that I thank everybody out there that was supportive of what I went through, because there was some real bad days for me, and some of the letters I got and appreciation from people that let me know that they were behind me, that really helped me through a lot of those hard times. So I want to give you guys a round of applause for helping me out.
Thank you, Tim. I'm sorry, we were having a little urology discussion up here. We'll fill you in later when question and answer period comes. We're more than happy to answer any of those personal questions.
It's a genital thing.
Big giant genitalia. Walking testicles all across the table. You shouldn't drink, okay? You're gonna say, I don't know if you know everybody on the panel, but right now we're gonna take time for everybody to introduce themselves and tell you who they are. And we're gonna start down at the end there. I couldn't read your card, so you're gonna have to go for it. Young lady? Yeah, it's up to you girls. Come on, start it off. Women first.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Gigi, we're from Phantom Blue.
Phantom Blue. All right, Michelle, Gigi. Stevie, baby.
I'm Stevie from Tuff.
And he's also a former love toy of Jessica Hahn. I got pictures, okay? On sale, no. Tim, you already met Tim, eh? All right. Blas, there.
My name is Blas, and
Tell him, baby.
You know, man, my name's Sammy, and it's just great to be here, man. And I mean, I dig you kids. I really do.
And he lives marvelous, doesn't Mark Slaughter, folks. I got to say it, man. Last year, that was one of my favorite parts of last year, actually. Was sitting up here on the panel, and Mark showing up late. And then everybody screaming, and the cameras going off, crying. I swear it was like being at a Beatles concert. You know?
what do we do? We write a Beatles song for a record, you know?
That's it. I'm Sam, man.
My name is Juan Too Many from the rock group Hardline.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm Joe from Hardline.
I enjoyed it.
My name's Ted from Bone Machine.
Ted.
My name's Michael from Tattoo Radio.
Michael. Yeah. It was interesting listening to Tim talk about the personal tragedy of his and getting over it and everybody getting stronger. I'm sure all of you out here have also had some things go on over the last year that you've gotten done, taken care of, made you stronger, got you here this year. But if anybody has any specific questions they want answered, fire away. Don't be shy. Don't raise your hands. Blurt it out. I'll find you. Right here.
Hey, Phantom Blue.
Phantom Blue.
What's it like being a lady in the music industry? You have to put up with a lot of bullshit.
Dinner lady.
How would you know?
No, they're our friends. They're great. We're teasing you. Don't worry.
Round two.
That's no lady, that's my wife! Oh!
Can't get no respect.
Joe, tell me what happened.
Interrupt them, man. They'll talk about you all day long.
Exactly. This is the perfect example. No,
I think everybody puts up with a lot of bullshit.
Wait a minute, wait for you guys. Tell them what happened when Joey tried to heckle you, huh? What was your
well,
response?
I flipped him off.
Show everybody your response. Come on, show
Well, I think
everybody.
everybody knows what flipping the bird looks like.
No, what does it look like?
Looks like a thingy.
Joey.
Hey, that's very good. You know what this is? 4 of those. We love you over there. Keep that in your file book for later, okay? And come in handy one night. So, as she stated, everybody cuts it. Everybody gets it in the music business. Girl, guy, even that record that they play.
If you call up an executive, and usually the secretary is running around and doing all the work, and the guy's out there trying to figure out when his tea time is, you know.
How to make
That's
it fit.
unfortunate. You know, it's just the way the world is right now, unfortunately. But what do? We go out and play rock and roll. That's why we're here, right?
As it is, as it will always be, as my dying breath will be. An E below middle A, perfectly pitched. No, okay. You know, gotta go with what I know. Anybody else out there curious about what's been going on for the last year here with everybody? I'm actually curious to hear the new Slaughter album myself. So how does it sound? How does it sound? Because I have a greatest hits tape I play in my car all the time, and it's got Up All Night, it's got Wildlife, it's got a couple songs, and right now I'm working at a bar where I play the Wildlife all the time, and I get to see their music adapted to a whole new art form every night, and they should come in and visit me, but I don't know if they'll have the time tonight. But that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's new music. Everybody up here has new records out, including myself. And questions from the audience. Yes, ma'am.
I think you guys have really improved and you sound awesome.
Thank you.
This is the best you've ever done.
Thank you.
So you heard a preview of the new stuff. Really good. How did that go on? Where was I?
Don't worry, Sam.
Sleeping.
I told you. I told you. Some people are sleeping right now.
That's it. I wasn't.
Any questions? Don't be shy.
I got a few questions. Who came here from out of the United States? Who traveled? From where? Where are you ladies from? Did I ask this man over here? Did I ask?
Ask the lady what.
You know?
You haven't lived until you've had brothers.
So welcome to the 1994 Love Fest. We are your panelists. Take us, we are yours, alright? Come on, grab my hand, we will not say no. Just say hell yes when we come up here later. Alright?
Okay. I have a question. How come it's so hot in here, man?
Yeah, we get over there. Turn on some radio. Oh, folks.
Questions?
Excuse me?
Take off your clothes.
Come on up here and feed me a couple of bucks, baby. I'll work for you right now. Hey, look, I'm easy, but I'm not cheap, okay? I'm going to start off right now. Last year, we all of us told you what we've been up to, what we do, and such. A few ladies had come up to me and said, hey, they saw my television show that I did for Fox, stuff like that, and that was good. I had a great time doing that. Penelope Spheris directed his television show for Fox, and I got a star, and it was a lot of fun. But aside from that, now I have my own record label. Started myself, couldn't deal with the machine, so I became the machine. Got my own record label, got a record coming out in a month. I'm really happy. I have a band called Wild Frontier now. Later on, I'll be more than happy to get addresses and stuff, get down the whole mailing list, get the machine rolling with you people. Because if I could have just a few fans like you, keep me going for the next 10 years, definitely. This is what it's all about right here. I come here every year and it's just like, it's a rush. And you find people who are disinvolved in music, which is what?
The Hardline Boys.
Yeah.
Dysfunctional band. We're currently right now regrouping. Joey and I, of course, well, I'm thinking of a replacement for Joey. No, we're going to be releasing our second record, Europe and the Asian countries only, due to the lack of, interest in America. Everyone's obvious. The state of rock and roll in America right now pretty much sucks. So, not in this room. That's correct. If we just had another 15 million folks like you guys, would be in there. But that's what we're going to be doing, and the record is near completion, and it'll be available as an import. I know it makes life a little difficult, but the rock and roll keeps rolling.
How do we go about getting it here in the U.S.?
You just go to a record store and say you want to buy the import, Hardline's second record, and you'll hear about it in the press. Maybe we could, bribe Jerry Miller to run a few ads or something for us. So you'll hear about it in all the magazines, and then just grab it as an import. Not to say that we're not going to release in the U.S., permanently. It's just that when the marketplace, you see, I don't want to get too businesslike, but you have to spend an awful lot of money to promote, a record in the U.S. And right now, so many radio stations, MTV, obviously, when we've got Beavis and Butthead controlling things, you're kind of at the mercy of these folks. And if you can only get a guarantee of like maybe 20 or 30 or 40 stations in the country to play your record, but you have to put out X amount of millions of dollars to promote a record, it just doesn't make good basic business 101 sense. So we just kind of, unfortunately, there's quite a few people that suffer because we don't get to release this. Us too. I mean, we love touring in our own country and stuff. But the whole purpose of everything here is to just keep making music and go where you're really accepted. And hopefully, we pray that everything will turn around a little bit so we can get rock and roll back to where it was.
The bottom line is with as far as rock and roll, whether it be Hardline or Tuff or Phantom Blue or whoever it is, the bottom line is if there's rock and roll and the gates open, and everybody they see a demand for rock and roll. You have these executive guys that are looking at numbers, and what happens is they turn around and they just say, well, let's just do a record for X amount. It's a business, you know, unfortunately, but that side of it, we're artists. We like to make music because we still like rock and roll when a lot of people are saying it's not cool to rock and roll. So we're still going to do what we do. We're going to still go out there and tour. And we're still going to, you know, do the music that we do instead of chasing our tails like a lot of people. You know, everybody up here is standing tall and just saying we do what we do. So, you know, and you people are out there are still listening to that type of music, and we thank you for it up and down. God bless you.
Yes, indeed. I've got an interesting follow-up to the statement Mark just made right in front of me. It's the new Tuff CD. And on RLS Records. Everybody know what RLS Records is? I found out today. Record label suck. That's good. No, Stevie. I like that. So it's all right. It's a good record label. That's the new Tuff CD. I haven't heard it yet. I'm going to go listen to it.
It's great.
That is Stevie's hand.
Yep.
Is that Stevie?
That's your hand?
Show us, Steve. That's you, baby.
All right, that's it.
Good stuff. So, who was at the charity casino night last night? Everybody here? Who won stuff? Damn, I wanted some of that good stuff. Yeah, hey, I want to know who got the signed photo of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who won it? Who? You saw it? I'll buy it. I like Arnold. Hey, what can I say? Action adventure movies. That's my life. All right, what's going on with Tattoo Rodeo down the street there? Ted, what's going on with you there?
Well, first of all, I have a question for the Hardline guys. I would like to know what kind of vitamins you guys are taking, because you look fabulous. I just don't know.
They do look beautiful, don't they?
I gotta start going to your pharmacy.
Seriously, just sit next to him and get a glow off him. All right. I feel so much better next to him.
Okay, what am I up to? Well, it's been a very funny year. Right now I have a new band called Bone Machine. We are working on our new demo, which will be out this summer. I believe, you have a handy order form and an address readily available in that bag that you got when you registered. I wasn't able to bring any product here, but the mail is a wonderful thing, and I will be home in New Jersey, going to my P.O. box Monday looking for some orders, so I do appreciate it, and that's pretty much it. I hope you'll like it. We're looking for a tour, hopefully, close to next spring, I think. So for now, that's all that's going to be out. I do have a few record offers from overseas, which will give a nice quality full CD, probably close to Christmas or next spring. And for now, I'll be reading your cards and letters.
All right. Who else is in your band, Ted?
Hey, something? I've been talking to a lot of the people in this room, and when I was signing a lot of autographs and taking a lot of pictures, a lot of people said they had a lot of questions. And I'm not hearing very many questions. Come on, get out with it. Hey.
Really? What's your RX for love, baby? Huh? That's your RX for love over there. Pharmacy goes, woo! That's party. Questions? I'll keep asking. Jenny from, I don't know, from Louisiana? Iowa. I don't know. We've been in constant contact.
Well, this really isn't a question, and Tim, like you were saying, I was talking to you about this earlier, and this is an article that John Landau wrote about the death of Janis Joplin. And
I think, in a way, what you're trying to say,
I felt I've hurt myself,
is that a lot of times people in general look at people in magazines or on the music shelf and think that we're like bigger than life. For instance, 8 out of 10 of the musicians that you see in magazines and the records on the shelf are guys that work day jobs also. Just today alone and yesterday, there's 400 kids here roughly, and it's been physically draining for each one of us maybe to meet everybody and talk to everybody. There's 3 million Slaughter fans, there's only one Mark Slaughter, There's let's say, a couple 100,000 Tuff fans, and there's only 4 guys in the band Tuff. There was just last month a letter published in Metal Edge about a girl who wrote in and said that Stevie and George have turned into complete bastards in the last 2 years because of
I didn't mean that though. I'm sorry. You were a really nice guy. I'm sorry. I take it back.
saying that they were the people who put us where we were today. And I looked at the letter and said, listen, bitch, I'm in a moving truck lifting furniture up and down stairs, you know? So it's like, when you're on the road, and whether you're playing in front of 200 people a night, 2,000 or 20,000, there's only so many guys in the band. And it's easy for all of you guys to look and wave at Mark or ask for an autograph, but at one point or another, you do run into somebody when they just don't want to be bothered at the laundromat, do not want to be bothered in McDonald's, and quite frankly could have had a bad day because of a family matter or whatever else. And a lot of times there's a lot of things that are put into your head when you see a great photo of a band, but you don't realize there's so much more psychological, mental stress, you know, with all the political shit that happens in the music industry every day. So people like, you know, Kurt Cobain, for one reason or another, couldn't deal with it, and obviously had maybe some other things that he didn't like either, and, you know, took and made a decision. So, anyways, I'm not anywhere fancy, I'm actually a mover. But so, to the girl who wrote the letter that said that we had become complete bastards, and Michael quit, and Todd quit, and maybe that was the reason they quit, but they quit because they financially didn't want to do it, and had other interests, and no longer had the burning desire to be in Tuff, which I still do. And
nice to know.
You know, as I completely mumble on, and for instance, when you play 6 shows in a week, at our level, we're still traveling a lot of times in a van, and we play San Antonio, Texas on Tuesday and have to drive 550 miles to the other side of Texas to play Houston on Wednesday after driving for 12 hours and doing a sound check and realizing that you only sold 4 t-shirts last night, we don't have enough money for our hotel room. It becomes very stressful and strenuous, and other things go along with it. But I think pretty much I've managed to be a pretty nice guy for the most part, right?
Hell yeah. The next time I see you in the laundromat, I won't fuck with you. We had a question, Megan. Please.
As long as they buy a couple t-shirts, it's cool.
Those stupid Stairmaster addicts, I don't know why they're always coming at me.
Well, as far as you know, there is going to be fanatical. I think everybody's has had somebody that they really, you know, adored in the public eye. You know, everybody has somebody they look up to, and if somebody freaks out and does that, to me it's just kind of like, hey, if I met the person that I adored at their age, I would want that person to be nice and to be a human being and not be an asshole, you know, and just try to be, you know, just be cool. There's no reason that would, you know, that I wouldn't like, you know, it gets to be a little crazy, you know, when you're trying to walk through something and somebody's going, ah, and you're just going, hey, what's going on, you know? But at the same time, you got to look at it and just be cool about it and just say, hey, you know, sign what they want. I mean, last night I was thinking about it. We were here for 9 hours. Was it 9 hours yesterday? How long were you here for? 13. Yeah. So see what I mean? I mean, that's a long time for somebody to just say, listen, you know, we're here for the fans, and everybody who's here today.
Rich, we wanted Snapple up here, not just ice water.
Everybody's here for the fans. So it's like, you know, we're making a special effort, and I think that everybody who's come to this is making a special effort to say, you know what, we're all a family, and we're all out there, we love rock and roll, we love to, you know, have a good time, and that's what it's about. Enjoy your life, and thank you.
I'd like to say something on that too. You know, it's funny to me because when I grew up, there was a lot of bands and a lot of people that I always wanted to meet, and I mean, I met Jimmy Page, for instance, and Zeppelin is probably one of my favorite bands of all times, and I was like drooling on the guy. I mean, everybody goes through that, and I think it's healthy. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know about everybody else up here, but I worry more about the day that all that stops. You know what I'm saying? And if, I mean, there are people that go a little overboard, you know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes it's easy to get carried away when you're infatuated with somebody, or you really like somebody, or you enjoy what they do. But you shouldn't hold that against anybody, because we've all had our dreams and aspirations and things that we've wanted to do, people we've wanted to meet. You know, I mean, there's a lot of actresses out there or movie stars that, you know, I still get nervous. You know, we're all human people. We're all human beings here, you know. And if somebody that's out there, first of all, we're in this business for a reason, you know what I mean? To spread our music to people. And if we can't be nice to the people that enjoy our music, you know, like, it really bums me out to hear some of these bands talk about not wanting this fame and this fortune and all these things that they've gotten. Mentioning their names. And, you know, it's a bummer, because it's like, you know what, then get the fuck out of the industry. Don't play music if you don't dig it. You know what I mean? If that's what you're all about, then fine, because there's plenty of people that are willing to work for it and really enjoy what they do and don't mind, you know, dealing with people and success. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, if that's the case, then they should have a hobby band and play in a club and never aspire or turn down their record deal, or, hey, give your money to a charity.
Give your money to Tuff fan club. I'll give you.
No, it's just funny to me, because I mean, I see things going on around me, and I think people are real ignorant and rude to, like, not have like a fucking minute to sign an autograph to somebody or take a picture with somebody. What does that take? Some fucking time out of your life. It's no big deal, and I don't think people should treat it like, oh, I don't have. You know, I get really pissed off.
Really cool.
You know, these people are making millions of dollars and they can't take one fucking minute out to sign an autograph for somebody. You know? Still working on that character defect with the language, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Give me another year or so, and maybe I'll get over it. But it pisses me off. It really does.
For every fan out there that likes Slaughter or Tuff, there's a fan that hates Slaughter and Tuff. Whether it's, you know, like a Danzig fan or a Pearl Jam fan, because there's people that hate our guts because of certain music they like, and there's people from certain experiences. Like, for instance, let's just read a real quick letter from Michelle, who enjoyed meeting us. Okay, she says, "This letter is in response to No Longer Dedicated in the August issue. You act as though you've known Stevie and George for years when actually you just met them. So how can you say they've actually become jerks? So you had one bad experience, haven't you ever had a bad day?" Is this your typo or is it my reading? Okay, just checking. On November 3rd, 1993, I was lucky enough to have met Stevie, George, and Jimmy. They were some of the nicest guys I have ever met. They let my friends and I take many pictures, signed autographs, and let us roam around backstage. Could you please print this picture of me and Stevie? P.S. He was even kind enough to wear protection. Michelle, thank you. There was no P.S.
Jerry, we want to thank you for printing that letter in its entirety.
You know something else that I just thought about too? These guys are laughing. No, you know what though? Everybody has a bad day. I don't care if you are the nicest guy in the world. There's days where we get up and of course we're like, oh man. But you know what? It's far and few between. You don't get sleep. And the drag about that whole side of the thing is people go on first impressions. When you meet your favorite guy in a band and he's a dick that day, he's always a dick. Forever, in your mind. If you meet him a second time and he's nice, you might maybe give him a second shot. But most people, and this is coming from experience, if you're nice to somebody the first time they meet you, they'll always remember you as a nice person, you know? And if you carry yourself that way, I think it takes you a lot further than being a dick.
Wow, yes indeed. Rich Bartle in the rear, hand up.
Are you playing O.J. Simpson in the movie?
No. No. What Mike Tyson have for breakfast? Ham, eggs, and O.J.
Got a joke, okay?
What you said about fucking when he's using the word fucking?
What did I say?
You always have a minute.
Oh, I said I always have a minute to fuck.
There you go.
Always have some fucking minutes. Just kidding. Okay, what did Michael Jackson say to O.J. Simpson on the way into jail?
We'll take your answer.
He said, how about your kids for you?
plenty of them.
Sam's got a joke.
Shanks.
Now what? Oh, the joke, I thought just being here, like my face and everything, would amuse you enough. Now I gotta tell jokes too? No, we got questions in the rear there, and I want to hear from you. Like anybody? Hello.
Okay, nice talking to you.
Last year, there were a lot of questions in regards to what everybody was doing. I guess, go ahead, please.
I think this song is like really great for your fans. Do you think, I mean, because I remember like when you started Red Things where not everybody always is. Do you think that because you guys are, that it's rubbed off on other bands?
That it's rubbed off on other bands? Yeah. Good.
I'm on a roll today with this topic, but a lot of bands have actually been almost forced by the record label and stuff to do meet and greets and hang out with fans that aren't really into it as much. You know what I mean? And sometimes people aren't as talkative or aren't as social. You know, they can be nice, but they're not really outspoken, and they feel uncomfortable around people, and you can't take that against them. So some people are a little bummed, but you know. I've noticed more in the last few years that a lot of people are starting to be a lot cooler to their fans. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying because of us, but be bands like us that go out and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Some guys are kind of shy.
are you saying I need my own show? Is that what it is?
We want the Tim Kelly
Some
Home
guys are
Shopping
kind of
Network.
shy like Bloss.
Tim Kelly!
Move over Arsenio, here comes Tim.
The Tim Kelly Shopping Network. Yes.
I have more of a comment. What you were saying, I understand everybody has a bad day, but we live in the Midwest, and there's not a lot of, country's, of course, a little bit more prevalent than the rock. When we go to a club and we pay $15 to get a show, 9 times out of 10 when you meet the band, they're always bitching about, well, I can't believe nobody showed up, and this place sucks, and I hate this town, I hate this place. But the person who's coming up to meet that band, we paid to get them to the show, we bought the t-shirts, we bought the CDs, and yeah, well, he may be having a bad day because nobody came to the show, but we did come to the show, and I think that...
Give me the name of that club, I'll bring my band in, we'll play there, and we will fucking love you for being there.
I know what you're saying, but I think what Tim is saying is when he wakes up in the morning and he's got little sleepies in his eyes, and he walks down into the restaurant so he can get a bite to eat, and somebody's there and goes, Tim, can you sign this? And I'm really mad that I didn't do this or that, and you didn't get to meet you last night, and where's Bloss, or whatever might happen. And he just wants to go and have his breakfast, you know? Breakfast, you see. And what happens is, you know, if he's striking and he has a fight with his wife or whatever, you know what I mean? I think that's what it is, you know, that he's saying. But by no means, you know, is that a common thing around our camp. I mean, if we have a bad day, we have a bad day, but we're still trying to put out what we can.
I didn't mean that. I mean, and I met you guys so many times. You've always gone out of your way to be nice to everybody. But I'm just saying, especially the newer bands, when they come in, and obviously, especially if they're not signed to a label, they're trying to promote their band and get you interested. And maybe you're going up, find out some stuff, so you can tell all your friends about them. And they don't want to take that. You know, you took the time to come to the concert and stay the whole time to, hey, this is the show and everything, and they won't take a minute to, you know, at least talk to you.
See, another thing too is there's certain clubs out there that, for instance, you come into town and they're just thinking, okay, these guys are from LA and they're going to have an attitude right off the bat. Another thing, road crew guys. I've always tried to tell our road crew, whoever works for us, that they have to go into every city and be cordial to everybody, including the opening band that has to set their drums up in front of ours. If our road crew comes, oh, get your shit out of our way, and have a bad attitude, everybody in that city, in that club, the road crew, the opening band, the road crew's opening, or the opening band's road crew, the road crew's. If our road crew gives any flack to anybody, it reflects on the band. They're not going to say, Tuff was this, because of something maybe Stevie did. They'll say if our roadie's kicking a hole in their bathroom door because he's wanting to be cool, or writes, you know, Kansas City sucks on the wall, Tuff 93, then it's going to reflect on me and the band, even though the road crew could have done it. And they might have had a bad night with, say, Dirty Looks the night before, and then somebody else comes into town, and it's an LA band. They think, okay, you know, these guys aren't going to give us any hell. And depending on what demands are on the contracts and riders, it could be the road manager arguing about stuff which flows over to the band and people standing around. And it always pretty much comes on our shoulders. So that's why I said there's only 1 or 3 or 4 of us, and everyone else is making haste of us.
See, sometimes, you know, these guys work real hard. They travel from Los Angeles to Texas. You know, you're saying basically a lot of bands that just start out, right? So when they go there, they get bummed. You know, a lot of them get bummed out. You know, oh, there's not enough people here, whatever. You know, and a lot of people take, you know, playing in clubs and playing in bands. They take it for granted, but it's a great job. They take it for granted. But, you know, we've always had the philosophy when we first started out, you know, if we're playing to freaking bartenders, and sometimes we used to, you know, we got to do the best that we can, or 4 or 5 people showed up. It's, you know, it's not their fault that, you know, a couple hundred other people didn't show up. They showed up, so let's give them the best show that we can and do the best that we can for them. And that's what we've always tried to do. But, you know, a lot of bands get bummed out when they go, like, oh shit, the same 4 girls.
But you know what? You got to, if anything, you just got to like have a good time. If it's in a club like that, I mean, you have a good attitude about it. I was in the previous band I was in. We played to maybe 4 people, you know, literally, and bartenders. But it was kind of like, and I'll tell you what, the 4 people who were there said, "That's the best show I ever saw, dude." And I mean, it was they were there, man. They were rocking. So it's like, you know, have a good time with it.
And, you know, the truth of the matter is also that some people are just obviously not the nicest people in the world, you know? I mean, no, it's true fact. Some people cop that attitude because that is their attitude. And you just kind of take it for what it's worth. And, you know, if you enjoy the music, great. You don't, you know, whatever. I personally, I appreciate this. Like, to me, if I could do this every day, this would be heaven for me. Because you guys are great. And, you know, look forward to this every year, and to Joey and I especially, this is what it's worth for us. I mean, this is everything to us. Just being here, hanging. You know, we don't. If you notice, we don't run and hide. You know, in between things, we're out here with you guys. We're no different than anyone else. I mean, you should smell Joe's room this morning. But you know, we love you guys, truly.
We'll have a room smelling tour starting at 6:30. Okay? Sign-in sheets are outside the door. I'm going.
I know that as soon as we walk out of here, everyone's going to come up and have a bunch of questions. As soon as, like, Mark's standing in the doorway, everyone's going to have a question for him. So maybe everyone just get a little bit more ballsy now and just raise your hands. There we go.
I was wondering, what do you guys think about, like, how high concert ticket prices are and the thing that Pearl Jam is doing
You just see the source model. Yeah, I go again. I think it's ridiculous, and
Tim hasn't had a talk in a while, just so you know.
I am, you know, there's one thing, I don't need to say, no, it's one thing, I mean, I think it's starting to get ridiculous. So, like, certain people charge, like, this astronomical amount of money for their tickets, and then every other artist down the line thinks, like, they need to charge that much, because, well, Barbara Streisand charged $1,000, I'm charging, you know, $600, at least. You know what I'm saying?
Air in the room.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's just like a greed factor, you know. And I don't think, you know, you're talking $20 or $30 for a concert ticket. I don't think it should be much more than that anyway.
Can I interject?
Yes, interject. He wants more. He wants
we had a nice little breakfast discussion this morning about this whole ordeal, and you know, it's time we unleash. You know, put a little bit of the. Not saying that was bullshit. That was not, but. Teach you guys a little bit about what really happens on the business side of this kind of thing. We're talking high ticket prices, we're talking high shirt, you know, merchandising prices. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? There's 2 sides to every story. First of all, a lot of these merchandising companies give us a shitload, astronomical load of money up front, okay? And you have your Kurt Cobains that may, you know, do crazy things, and these folks lose their money, okay? And a lot of times what happens is they give you, the band, X amount of money. They have to charge those prices to get their money back before someone kills themselves or breaks a leg or quits or breaks up. So there's a lot of business stuff that happens. I think, if my personal solution to the whole thing is, I don't think us rock bands should take any advance. I think we should do, you know, deals with these merchandising companies and promoters. You know, 50-50, or, well, give me 60-40 maybe. But, you know, and this way we're all making money from T-shirt one, and you guys are paying a price that is reasonable, and everyone's happy. So I think there's a lot more to it than just, you know, lowering a ticket price, because quite honestly, they give us a lot of money up front, and they have to make their money back, understandably.
And not at, when they give you an advance, just so everybody kind of understands, I mean, I don't mind saying this, that 35 to a good deal 40% of that cash of the t-shirt goes directly to the merchandiser of the money that they advanced you. That's how it works. So it's kind of like, you know, we're in debt. Right. We're going out there, and every t-shirt sold, we're in debt. But that's the business. This is a business, and that's what you do. You go out, we're going to keep touring, we're going to keep touring, keep touring. Then when the debt's gone, then it happens again. But it is a business on that side of it.
I think that the, you know, what Pearl Jam's trying to do, I think the whole point of it is correct. But I think what they fail to tell you is that they can't expect to get all this money up front and then lower, you know, prices on things. That was you know, part of the point. But that is true. You know, and then they have to...
How does it pay?
How does it end up paying off?
Yeah. How do we make any money? Do you remember the craps game that was over there?
Seriously, it is as much as a gamble. The odds of being successful in this business are astronomical. Low. Okay? Because it's like, you know, if you're going to roll the dice, these are players. These are people who go say, okay, I'm going to roll the dice. Whatever happens, I love this game. I like to play. I like to do this. Yes, a lot of times when you go out, like on a tour when you're first starting, you take money from the record company who advances you to go out and play. It's called tour support. On the tour support, you go out and you play a whole bunch of dates. But at the end of the tour support, when you look at your statement, you made nothing off your records because you took money from the record company, which is another bank that you took an advance so that you can tour to promote. See what I'm saying? So it is all a complete dice roll. But if you're going to play the game, then you play the game.
I would like to know that as well.
After you pay them back. After you pay everybody back, then the upside happens. But you have to pay everybody back, which is usually every video, $150,000 to $200,000. We say, for instance, Slaughter makes a new video. Who knows if we're going to do one for MTV? Because, check this out, $150,000 to $200,000, and they go, that Slaughter sucks, dude. Right? I don't want that shit. And on top of that, they won't play it. They'll say Slaughter isn't our format anymore. So if they'll play it, and we know that they'll start playing rock and roll and stand behind what we do or stand behind our type of music, then we'll make a video and we'll take the chance and roll the dice for the $150,000 to $200,000 a home for one shot. It's pretty scary.
Yes.
Hardline, you got an import coming out. What's the title of it?
There's a bunch of working titles we have right now. We think it's going to be called Vicious Circle. Okay? That's like the #1 title we're going for right now, because it's simply that.
Good choice of words there, yes.
Boss, where did your parents get your name?
Good personal question here.
Come on, boss.
I'm a small young child on a farm.
I think it's a religious name. My father's a minister, and it means one with God in Spanish.
Bueno, one with God in Spanish. Yes, ma'am. Oh, there he goes.
Well,
hey,
matter of fact,
wrong room again. That's the
Dana
fourth room he's been in.
is out in Philadelphia. I'm sorry I can't make it. I'll make sure to be there next year. No, he's working with a band called Dragonfly that Tim actually said, hey, Dana, you gotta hear this band, nudge, nudge, nudge. You gotta hear this band, nudge, nudge, nudge. And then Dana took interest in this band, and the next thing, 2 years later, they're doing a record right now, and I don't know what the whole logistics of it are, or where it's gonna be released or anything. But it's called Dragonfly, isn't that it? Yeah, I don't know if that's even their name, it's kind of like...
They're thinking about using that name, but somebody else might have it, so they might not get to use it, but it's a band that I was checking out when we were doing the Wildlife record. Dana finally listened to it and liked it, and he got him a record deal real quick, and he's recording him, and it's going to be probably a couple months before he's done, and he wanted me to tell everybody that he wishes he could have been here, but, he had to try to get this done so that he could go and do the stuff with Slaughter, which is his priority and his most important thing. And this is his shot to get that done. So he apologizes for not being here. He misses you guys, wish he could have been. And
I do believe he did call up and he did ask that everybody buy the Tuff and the Bone Machine CD as soon as possible. And that would be his little way of making it up to you. So.
Yes. Back, brother.
What?
Yes, Linda, and you were there.
That's our drummer.
Hi, Linda. How you doing, baby? What was the name of the tour again?
Explain things.
Blast the Pan.
Blast the Pan.
We drew it on every toilet all over Europe.
I saw pictures too.
If you've ever been to Europe, you know what the food can do to you there.
Aha! Now we know. Yes.
I'd like to know what all you guys think of the state of rock and roll radio right now.
What's rock and roll
What
radio?
rock and roll radio?
Yeah, now aren't you from a radio station in San Francisco? What's the state of the station that you work at?
I'm in a heavy metal station, so it's a new state.
Which is happened in the last 2.5 years, correct? When did your station start?
Oh, 30 years ago.
30 years ago?
Yeah.
What is the name of the station?
When did it change format?
Probably about 10 years ago.
To what? To what? To hard rock heavy metal, really?
Yeah,
You
because
can't
there's
see
like,
it, I guess.
Candy C is the only thing.
You're a dying breed.
Yeah, we are.
No, you're living strongly and proudly is what you're doing. You're the few, the proud.
But it's just like anything. As soon as a rock band hits, boom, everybody's like, rock and roll is really happening right now. And everybody just starts waving their hands. They start signing rock bands. It's just like everybody chasing the buck. That's how the business works. It always goes in cycles.
The state of radio today, every now and then I'll look at a pie graph in Billboard. Country radio. Yeah, that's the state of radio right
But
now.
how would you guys like to see rock and roll radio change?
I'd like to see the pie chart say rock and roll radio. That's what I'd like to see.
We'd all like to be on the radio every 5 minutes like Nirvana and Pearl Jam.
5 minutes instead of Pearl Jam.
Yeah. No wrong with it. Yes, ma'am. The stripe down her chest right in front of her. Yeah, you do.
Right,
Yeah, we got it. I'm not here well. Right.
Sex.
Go on long bike rides.
Back rubs,
Golfing.
Blast the Pan.
Everybody's got their certain avenues of doing it, Everybody has their certain, ways of releasing it. Some people meditate. Some people, just actually go mental, Some people change their, identity daily. It's hard to tell. It's everybody has their certain way of dealing with it. At least that's the way it is in our camp.
Stevie likes just bar fights, actually. This is,
Stories in the front of the bus, singing Kumbaya.
We listen to therapy a lot when we're on the road.
What?
Therapy?
Are you on the road with the band therapy? or you bring therapy on the road with you? Both. Okay, good. In the gold, all the way in the back.
It's more fans, not really groupies. Oh, don't!
And I use receptive as the mail locker.
They're never like out of hand or anything.
In Amsterdam, though, we had one incident with a woman. It was like
News at 11.
She was like out there. We were like, the exit. Stay to the left.
And Gigi had one guy that followed her almost all the way to England from Germany.
Really?
He wanted to like come to LA and like
Get married. He wanted to live here. Go to her hotel and have some refreshments.
What?
It's like, you can be my wife.
Yes, that's what he says. Had to get the record company to like tell him to back off.
That is pretty interesting, though, if you think about it. It seems like, as far as like in a rock band, where there's guys, if you're looking at the way girls play rock, what do you feel is treated different to you than what the guys, what do you see?
The number one difference is men automatically get respect. Women have to constantly prove it.
Right. Proving to get respect all the time.
You gotta play than a guy band.
Yeah. Do you find the record company or people like that being sexist? Like all the time? They're just girls?
I mean, especially like, it's like me and Michelle, it's like we got blonde hair, so they automatically think we're dumb.
Right.
I mean, it's...
And also they think of, there's a girl drummer. How does a girl hit the drums?
She couldn't possibly hit hard.
Right.
I wouldn't tangle with the young lady.
Boy, you guys are good for girls.
Yeah.
And then we're better than them anyway, so.
I'd like to share a little story. Actually, got a question from the young lady in the purple right here.
The strangest thing we asked for in a writer? Oh, when you arrive to a gig and they say, we want this waiting, we're too practical. It's usually Sharpie pens, those things. One time we were actually, when we were on the KISS tour, we thought we'd go stock all our bars. So what we decided to do is every month change a writer. So we get a bottle of tequila every night, and everybody would take home tequila, and then the next month we change it to gin, and then we completely stocked our bars. But the first time we did a rehearsal in Vegas, a road crew stayed at my house, and my bar was gone. But, it's just everybody, I don't know. We didn't do anything too crazy.
It's not really a question. I just wanted to say something on the note of, women in rock. It's like when I moved out here from Illinois, and I came out here, and I was like totally lost because I don't care. Everybody likes guitar.
People who, if anybody does think the girls can't hit drums, my first drum teacher, the person that taught me how to play drums, and also Bobby Rock, who played with the Giolari brothers and Nelson. Both of us had the same drum teacher. She was a woman, and she was great, and she hit really hard. And I know because she used to hit us on the wrist when we messed up. And girls really can't play drums.
It's a Catholic way of thought.
Actually, it was just letting you know, girls, if you do have the chance, I'm on the riff a couple of times. So get them going. She wants to see your wrist.
One drummer joke. Please, Joe.
All right. One drummer joke.
Just for my sake.
Okay, what does drum solo and pre-ejaculation have in common? You know they're both coming, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Any more of those? You know what I mean with jokes, but...
Yes, you have a question?
Tell a real joke?
Go. Fucking work that.
Hey, we'll tell that story about our photo session. All right.
I have a question for Linda McDonald. Will you go get us some more beers?
If you pay me back.
Some beers.
I was just going to say that there's a lot more female musicians out there than people think there are. We just recently were looking for a new bass player, and we had like 10 tapes from great bass players. So.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was who asked the question about male groupies and such earlier to the women in Phantom Blue, but I'll tell you, the road crews usually have are a lot nicer to female fans than male fans, because I remember when me and a friend snuck into the Wilson sisters' dressing room.
It does sound kind of bad, doesn't it?
No.
It sounds like that's how we talk about it or think about it, but really it's not true. It was just, we thought it was funny as hell.
You know, as far as the road crew goes, you got me going again. You know, they talk about groupies and stuff, but I'll tell you, you know, you're like, you know, there's guys that ask us, you know, hey man, you get a lot of sex on the road. The road crew actually gets to the girls before the band does. You know what I mean?
What is it before? You get them after they get them?
Well, there's a system for that.
You are a madman.
Jim Kelly, a married man.
No, what I'm trying to say is that the road crew, you know, when people ask me that, I say, well, the road crew gets all the sex. You know, that's where
Our road crew is really pissed off.
That's why Hardline, we hire some really ugly guys. So
Yes,
no teeth, you're there.
Donald Duck voice. Where?
Like last year.
Oh, I did. Sometimes I pop out of personalities I don't know who I am. Yes, I am sometimes.
Got absolutely nothing I said, well, gender-wise though. Okay, let's get your priorities here. You know, I'd like to continue on with the Wilson story, but no. Wilson, I'm still fixated. It was over 10 years ago. Okay?
You have a question over here?
Yes, let's hear it.
What do you do when a person crosses the line from a fan to a scary fanatic?
Oh, see. Fan to scary fanatic.
Say no a lot. No.
Are you a scary fanatic? Are you about to cross that line? Step back. Security.
Here's my thin red line. Do not go over it. No.
But what do you do when a person...
When they park themselves in your lawn at 3 in the morning, just turn on the sprinklers and go to bed.
You find them sleeping in your car. You wake them up and
Nice
go.
day, I'm out. Steak and eggs breakfast for me.
And there you go. Give me answers
Scary.
to a very good question.
Dump the toilet on his feet.
We had a psycho fan in Superior, Wisconsin, of all places. We played this little club, and this girl brought us a huge Tupperware thing full of cookies. And usually they think that if they do that, they should get some special treatment, which we went out of our way. We gave her all the stuff that was necessary, a free pass and shirt or whatever. But she came to our hotel at 2 in the morning and was knocking on the door, and, you know, we said our hellos, whatever, and we wanted them to leave, and they wouldn't leave, so they sat down in our hallway. And at 4 in the morning, they knocked again and said they needed to use the phone, and, you know, we told them they couldn't, so we shut the door, and they consistently went about pounding on the windows, and we just ended up having to call security. And we seen her the next day at the next show, and she went off on us, and she was probably the one who wrote the letter about me being a bastard. But sometimes, you know, you meet a million people, you do your shows, and you just want to go to bed, and some people will go out of their way to try to get at you, and you just call the hotel security or whatever. And you become the bad guy to that one person. So, I mean, if it would have been peanut butter cookies, it might have been a different story.
She wanted Joe cookies, that's what she wanted.
They were already delivered at like midnight.
Oh, I see. Freshly baked, I see.
Then you got a question?
Next questions.
How do you guys keep your inspiration up? I mean, when you're not doing...
Keep what up? My perspiration? Oh.
That's the reason why. Stuff like today. Inspiration. Stuff like today.
Yeah. This would do it right here for the next year for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is it for me, too. I go back to Iowa, you know?
You know, you can go start playing.
It's all about going back to Iowa, you know?
Being here, I was explaining to the band yesterday, being here for 2 days, this is like a good, not like ego boost, but a little bit of an uplift. I mean, living in Los Angeles or wherever, that we're out every night and we see the same people, and people around here have adapted to people, you know what, with big names, and to see all these people here in support of us after we haven't even been on the road in 7 months and played any live shows, to have all this kind of support makes it more real and worthy, and you think, okay, we still do have belief from fans, not only from, you know, one certain area, but Los Angeles all the way to Finland and Japan and whatever. So things like this, or playing a good show and having the mail come in and seeing that people are appreciative of what we're still doing makes it.
You just gotta, as far as inspiration, you just, you know, you go out there, you try to be motivated and do what you love to do. And when we came out here to see all you folks, I mean, a lot of you we've met out on the road, a lot of you we haven't met before. It's really a nice thing to say, hey, listen, you know, we're still doing what you're doing, what we're doing. You're still out there. It's a great feeling. We still got a magazine that still, you know, is on top of
Jerry Mill, Ledge.
You know, we still have a rock and roll magazine that's not pimping out, you know, and chasing the new trend, you know. I think it's just, you know, there's inspirations, and everybody can find the inspiration even within themselves, you know, to be motivated.
There's a question right here, young lady.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this is for Johnny and Joe, but the impression I've gotten from you guys is that you favor the international fans versus the American fans. I mean,
I'd like to answer that for them. I think they were actually talking about marketing and where their music was more received, or more rapidly received, and where they could cover a market without having to deal with the massive geographics of the United States of America.
And plus, I think you're looking at it. Oh, I'm sorry. I think you're looking at it more as it's not so much our choice. I, for one, would love to sign a great, huge record deal in the U.S. Right now, I've got a lot of offers from Europe and Japan, and they care. So that's where the product will be. I mean, if I could sign something in the U.S., I'd love to get something out today. But basically, if they're the only ones who give me the money to do a record, to get it out to everybody, that's all I can do. And then hopefully from there, the U.S. fans that care can order it and get it. But otherwise, you don't know how hard it really is to get out there. And if the U.S., you know, you guys support us, obviously, this is great. But, you know, the record companies don't feel the same way right now. They tend to ride trends. And right now, you know, we've been doing what we've been doing for a number of years, and we're not maybe on the cutting edge of what's happening, but we're still very valid, and there's a lot of people that like it. So if I can get money to do a record from Europe, or if I can get some yen to do that record, I'll do it. And, you know, that's the only way it can happen sometimes.
Sounds good to me. There's a lot of labels in Japan that are signing bands from Los Angeles, like Shake of Faith and Medicine Wheel and Blackboard Jungle, and taking them over there and trying to build them there because, like they said, American companies aren't looking at us right now. They're looking at Pearl Jam's doing 5 million, Stone Temple Pilots is doing 5 million, and our type of bands aren't selling those kind of numbers. Well, if they have 5 salesmen, if a company has 5 salesmen on the floor, Joe sells $1 million every day. Pete and Dave and Tim sell $2 million every single day. And Johnny is like the hardest working guy, but he's only doing $50,000 a day. They think we don't need him. We got these other guys that sell millions of dollars every single day, and this other guy is a totally nice guy, works his ass off, but he's only doing a few $1,000s. That's not making a big difference in their corporate numbers, okay? So that's what they do. Phil Collins, AC/DC, whatever, those bigger bands, Stone Temple Pilots right now, on Atlantic Records, we were on Atlantic, they looked at Phil Collins, he sells millions of records every year. AC/DC, Rush sell millions of records every year. We were only selling 75, 100, 150,000. We were the small guy. They didn't need us.
You know, a lot of it is the promotion. I mean, like I see the top 10, you know, and stuff, and I think, I hate it all. None of it's rock. And you know, there are people out there, there are more people out there that like rock and some of that.
Then they've got a right and they've got a call. It's not our fault. We're making the product, you know?
We got to be able to do something.
You know what?
You got to have the big voice. You've got
And
to
the
call the
problem-
stations and write, and it's up to you, really. We can only keep trying to make the records. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and you know we need a little grease around here. So you've got to write, and you've got to call, and you've got to be relentless and really bug them and let them know. Because hey, maybe there's like, you know, obviously there's 8 million Pearl Jam fans out there, letting them know what they like. So if you like what you like, tell them and make people buy it and play it and spread the word. Yeah.
Here's what a lot of people do. They turn off, instead of calling, instead of saying, we want this, you know what they do? They turn off their radio. That's how they deal with it. They turn it off and they say, I can't listen to this shit anymore. Okay? They turn it off. Instead of saying, you know what? I can't stand what I'm hearing. You know, that's why it's that way. People still, you know, they still go out and buy records, bam, big numbers right up front. They buy a lot of records because that's if they even know a record is out. You know, how would you know a record was out if you didn't hear it on a radio station? Well, all the radio stations are kind of clicking off because people are tired of hearing that. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword all the way around.
And besides, you guys, who really runs what's going on with music are these people that are old enough to be all our parents and don't know their ass from a hole in the ground about music, and they're the ones that say, oh, you know, when Johnny and I was first starting to get, you have to write a song like Heaven, you know, Heaven with Warrant, right? So everyone's, oh, Warrant. Then that turned to something else. So all these guys, they don't know what the hell is going on. They just say, oh, wow, Pearl Jam's happening, great. So that means hard rock. Don't sign anything that sounds like anything in the 80s. Let's sign everything that has hard rock. Everyone else, you know, let's drop them or push them aside or whatever. So you have people that, you know, that signing bands that don't know what they're doing, or that are running the destiny of bands that don't know what they're doing. And I shouldn't say they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what the mass people like, you know, what's going on. There some of our older people.
They're just basically putting their cards on the table and saying, this is the truth, and we're not going to bullshit you.
Rock is back to like where like metal was like 5 years ago. Like Metallica and Pantera, it's all underground now. And, you know, I think there's a big market for that, and everybody can concentrate on that and really build it back up.
Just like, you know, Metallica, when they started, they were, you know, they were banging the clubs, they were doing their thing, and then all of a sudden, they put out this record that everybody goes, Metallica's cool. You know what I mean? They start doing their whole thing, and Metallica is huge. You know, they've been doing this for 10 plus years, you know, and it's just a cycle. You go, you work, you try.
I think rock will pick back up soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just got to say disco's back.
Yeah.
Another thing that's going on that I've noticed in America anyway is they're starting to develop labels in every state. Like they've been doing in the UK, the Pacific Rim, and everywhere. Where every country has their own record label. Everybody has their own licensing board. Here in the United States, the same thing is going to happen. Pretty soon there's going to be record labels all over the place to distribute to different smaller markets that were not accessible. People who own their tapes, like you were talking about owning your stuff. You'll have the right to license to individual companies everywhere for different markets. And that's going to help out a lot, I believe. Bryson.
Like I say, you guys got it's an interesting situation because a couple of years ago, a lot of people out here in alternative bands were doing things like this. They were hanging out, they were buying indies, they're putting out their albums as best they could. People kept buying them, and so the labels catch on. What has to happen is you guys got to buy the Tattoo Rodeo album and the Tuff album and find the Hardline album, wherever it is.
And don't forget the Bone Machine album. I know you were about to say that.
The Wild Frontier album.
Yes. You are the best, yes. There'll be a 5 minutes for you.
And the Metal Edge album.
I pay you, baby. Don't forget that Wild Frontier shit.
You know, back in '78, when I was just thinking back to when Van Halen first came out, you know, I was reading an interview, as a matter of fact, recently, And the knack was big then, and those bands weren't selling, the hard rock, and it took a few years for that to start moving towards where we got into the British wave of metal.
There's a band that came out called Whitesnake. Remember that? Yeah. All of a sudden everybody goes, wow, rock is roll, it's just amazing, rock is selling. All of a sudden it's one band that hits, and everybody shits their pants. The record labels start chasing their tails and going towards signing those type of bands.
And they had already been around for 10 years.
Yeah, they already had, all their records, so it's, go for what you know.
It was, say, in the late 80s where you were in a band, you played the clubs a few times, someone came and gave you $250,000 to put you on MTV. Now you got to do it just like every other band has always had to do it. You got to put out your own album, you got to fight and do indies and things like that, and just work it and get your fans at things like this and situations and just ride through it. People start noticing that all of a sudden the Tuff album takes off, or one of these albums, or the Slaughter album is big. Then you can start a trend. But the thing is we can sit here and say, be mad all day about the way the trend is rolling, but the trend is rolling because people bought those albums. People were finding, all the sub-pop bands and SST bands, and that's why punk is big right now. So people got together and said, this is cool, let's buy it. So you guys, what you're doing, you're in the right track. You guys are the people who will bring rock and roll back if you're going to bring it back at all. Just keep plugging, keep telling people, calling, writing, and above all, buy the album.
And don't be afraid to stick up for what you believe in. I mean, there's a lot of people out there right now that are like the Beavis and Butthead crowd that want to talk, negatively about Slaughter, Tuff, Warrant, Poison, whoever, and there's a lot of kids out there that want to, wear the grunge clothes and listen to Pearl Jam and Stone Temple and just say all those bands suck, Don't become somebody to jump on a bandwagon and just say, okay, everyone else is listening to it. If you like Slaughter, listen to Slaughter.
Exactly. There's a song, that's the second song on our record, is called Get Used to It. And it means rock and roll is here, and if you don't like it, my middle finger's in the air and you can kiss it, baby.
The purple, young lady.
I know that right off the top of my skull.
Must be a market for it.
For starters, in the United States, for a band to go platinum, we have to sell 1 million records. There's almost 15 million people just in the Southern California area alone, from like San Diego to North Ventura County. 15 million people. Skid Row sold almost 1 million records this city alone. In Canada, there's less people than there is in the city of Los Angeles alone. So a foreign country like Denmark, that's made up of a very, very small amount of people, they release a Slaughter album and sell 10,000 units. That's a success for them. So what they do then is they go, hey, Mark and Dana, you guys got a couple of B-sides? Quick, send them to us. They put a couple of B-sides on it, special edition, okay? Sell 5,000 more. Hey, you guys got any live tracks? Take some live tracks, put it on there. Hey, interview with Mark on one side of the record. So in foreign countries, they're going to release as many singles, B-sides, interviews, special, color CD products as they can to build up money.
And it's also what they try to do is make it to where they don't buy the import from America, which sometimes is released earlier than their records. So they might have a couple extra tracks to say, hey, it's coming, but we have 2 extra tracks that America doesn't have. That's why, because we flood. When our first record came out, we were just like, we went down to a couple one-stops, some people who sell the records, and they said, man, we just shipped 25,000 to Japan. And we were like, really? Well, over in Japan, it's just like, they didn't sell that many records because everybody bought them on import. So what they try to do is to give extra things so that they don't buy it from America, basically.
Something that was interesting for us in Japan, for instance, is a good example. We had no way to gauge our success in Japan because our record came out so much later that a lot of the Japanese people bought it import from the United States. And that was really weird for us because people kept saying, God, you guys are really big in Japan. You don't realize how many people are into your band and how many people bought your record. And the record companies tell us, well, not really, but we didn't know. The EMI in Japan was telling us, well, you only sold this many records. And we're like, well, how come it seems like more people than that know about the band and the record? And then we later found out the reason was because a lot of people didn't wait for the Japanese simultaneous release. you know, and they ended up buying it before they could get it in their own country through like a mail order or something, you know, it was an actual import. And personally, I've been meeting a lot of people at events like these that collect things. And I see things coming from different countries I didn't even knew we had. We've never even seen. We're like, wow, this is so cool. I don't even have one of these. Where'd you get it? Yeah, correct. I almost said, I wanted to say it, but no, but I mean, really, you know, Mike and Marty Rubicava, they're floating around here. These guys have stuff I've never even seen that is out on the band, you know? I mean, amazing things with these great color photos that you've never seen. You're like, where did this come from? You know, so it's pretty interesting. Like, sometimes I get mad. I'm like, wow, I wish we had this in the States, you know? So it's... No, I mean, I think it's great.
You know what? It's kind of like
You know, you try to do different things for different areas, you know? You just try, hey, try this, try that. Because you can never get a record to release at the same time. Because, you know, America or Japan might be ahead of America, or they might, you know, so the whole thing is try to give incentives for different countries so that they don't flood each market and you don't get a proper, you know, of the numbers. This time I don't know what we're going to do because we haven't done anything as far as extra tracks, so we'll, you know, have to do some or whatever.
Hey,
Tim Kelly's.
Before this guy in the white shirt leaves at the back, I mean, you had a question, yeah? I saw you waving your hand.
Okay. Right. Okay. Okay, we're trying to clear this up. If we release the second record, Europe and Asian countries, what we will do, what the normal consumer, what you can do, go to Tower, Sam Goody, whatever, and say, I would like to buy the Hardline record. And they'll say, well, we don't carry that. Yes, I know, it's an import. Okay, and they look in the computer, it says, it'll have a listing, and you'll be able to buy it right there in that store as an import. Hence, you must pay a little bit more money for it because of, you know, it's coming from overseas. But it's that simple.
But our first record you can get anywhere.
Yeah, but the first record, of course, you can get anywhere.
Oh, can you get the first record anywhere?
I think so. I got it in my room. But was there more to that question, though? Lancaster where? Here? Oh, because we're from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's what I thought. I didn't know if you were from Lancaster. I was like, hey, we're
Sister City.
Johnny just shaved his beard. He used to be an Amish.
Yeah. It's all right. Those guys, they sleep on like blocks and stuff. It's bizarre. Block sleeping, that's what they call it. But yeah, not to worry. And you know, we're going to get plenty of media coverage in the U.S. Because we sold a very good number of records, and we have a great bunch of fan followers, and you know, so everyone will know what's going on.
Well, I wondered if you're available through some of the things like Winco, you know, those different places and stuff that have like the imports that they bring in. Would I be able to read things there as well?
I would imagine, yes. I don't want to I want to make sure you understand that it's not like we do not want to release in the U.S. Yeah. That is correct.
One thing you can do to everybody in here, if you're looking for a specific record, if you go to the big chains like Music Land and Warehouse and Sam Goody, those people, they don't give a rat's, okay? They do not care. Go to the chains that have like the 1 or the 2 or the 3 stores in your area where it's somebody that owns it themselves, and this guy realizes, hey, me and my 5 friends want to get this Hardline record, I want to get this, you know, Tuff CD, which is not available at all these other big stores. They'll eventually, through some type of independent catalog or through some type of connection you guys might have, say, hey, you know, write to these guys and sell your product here. They're going to come and play our club here in Columbus or Indianapolis, and the Xerox station plays it. Go to those little independent stores, and if you make a connection 1 or 2 times and this guy sells 3 or 4 Hardline CDs, and 3 or 4 Tuff CDs, and then 4 or 5 Tattoo Rodeo CDs, and all your friends are going, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, we got down at, Joey's Underground Records. This guy will start to get a little bit more hyped on the idea, and he's going to want to start selling all these independent records. But the bigger places that have 10 or 20 or 50 stores, they're not going to really care. So you got to hit the little indie stores and bug them, and try to get them to make a connection with 1 or 2 bands, and it'll turn into more.
Tim, I heard you saying earlier today that you were going to try different avenues of like media coverage.
Yeah.
Do you want to like go into that?
Well, she said that different types of media avenues to let people know, the awareness of the record being out, and I think, a lot of people don't understand there's lead up time. It takes 3 months usually to get into a magazine, but sometimes, if you look at different areas like a People magazine or something, and the rock magazines, and certain things you find really work for a band, and certain other avenues of promotion and advertising don't work, and it's kind of a hit and miss. And sometimes it's good to experiment in different avenues. Word of mouth, I think, seems to be a really popular thing. If each person here tells 20 people that they heard the new record and they really dug it and they go check it out, sometimes that's better than anything. Getting back to Metallica and bands like that, they established a career on word of mouth and playing small venues. They didn't have radio airplay. They didn't have MTV until after 5 records. Then all of a sudden they got that. Of course, they appealed to more of the masses because a lot more people got to see the band. So a lot of it comes down to people even being aware that you're out there. Do they have a new record out? Who are these people? What do they look like? So a lot of the people that are starting fanzines as well, that's catching on really big too. And I think that's a really interesting thing because, a lot of us up here have done a lot of interviews with the smaller fanzines and stuff. And, maybe a superstar artist might not want to deal with that, thinking that, oh, well, I don't need to worry about that.
Okay, as far as the release of the record, possibly October. Why I said possibly October in the listening party is due to the fact of promoting it right. In other words, getting all the pictures in place. None of us have taken a picture in 2.5 years. Well, pictures of the fan form last year, but that's, from you guys. But no actual photo sessions in about 2.5 years, which Jerry's about ready to kill us over. She's like reprinting all these pictures. But it takes 3 months lead time usually in magazines. We have to have a plan on how we're going to promote it. How do we get the record to everybody to where they know it's out? If everybody's turning off their radio, how are we going to get it to the people so they know that the new Slaughter is out? And to be honest with you, I don't know if the company is ready for that. And that's why I said possibly October. And sometimes pushing it back is the best thing for the record because then you're not competing with, as Steve was saying about when he had Phil Collins and he had the other things, that they might put something in precedence over you, or that they might just not be able to juggle 3 things at once. See what I'm saying?
Sometimes we're not competing with other bands like our own. We're competing with other acts on the same label.
Could be Janet Jackson.
And whoever it might be. It's not necessarily that we're competing against a Skid Row or a Motley Crue or an Aerosmith record. We're competing against people at our own label for people to actually get out and work our record, and that's real important. And as far as the road, if we
as soon as the record's out, we're there, man.
Yeah,
we can't wait. Non-stop.
It kills us to sit here.
We get blessed to get on things.
Rush right there.
Slaughter sampler.
We've talked about it. I don't know if the record company if we're going to be able to get up the $80,000 it cost to do it last time. We're going to try. We're definitely going to try, or at least let everybody know. But I can't make any promises right now.
Yeah, she's like,
Susan, do you have a question in the back there? Did you have a question, Susan? I thought I saw you waving your hand.
It's very hot.
Singing in the boyfriend. What were you doing over there? Practicing for pageants? I don't know. Yes.
Which is a lot of prefer most, the mini tour that they do or the big, long tour? Like the mini tour you just did, in Las Vegas through?
The mini, she's asking if we like a mini tour or the arenas that we used to do. Basically, both of them have their good sides and both of them have their bad sides. I like any place you can play. I'll play the urinal over here if they have me. The point is, we just love to play. So either venue's fine with us. Whatever we can do, we're gonna definitely do it. What's that? The last one, yeah, we did 6 days just for the hell of it. In the middle of our record, we booked 6 days just to have fun, and they sold out clean. And it was, it was really, really reassuring. Unfortunately, it was clubs, so it was 21 and up, but they sold, and it was phenomenal. So there's a demand for rock and roll out there, and we're going to go out there and satisfy, hopefully.
Of course, all the way in the rear there.
Long time ago.
Right. The reason why we didn't come to the East Coast is for a very good reason. We were on the Aussie tour. It wasn't covering the East Coast, okay? And when we went to, what happened was, as some people know, I went down on vocal surgery. I was on the tour with Ozzy, went back in, had a nodule in my right cord, got it taken off, started back up. We did the Damn Yankees. Unfortunately, it was the same market, and then it was only like a month and a half, and then we called it. This time we're going to go clear across America, cover the East Coast. Definite, it's something that we want to do. We want to go all the way across America, and we will. Yeah, well, we were let down too. I unfortunately couldn't speak for 3 weeks, which is very, yeah. Right. Right, you never see him. Well, you know what? And it's also, and this is something that who knows, maybe we'll, get it together and get a whole bunch of bands together and do the Lollapalooza, because those alternative bands do one thing, they stick together. So maybe if we can get some promoters to believe in it, we can do something unbelievable like that, So whatever we can do, we just want to go out there and play, man. And we're going to definitely hit the East Coast, and we're not out to disappoint anybody, but we're human beings, and we go down just like everybody else does.
Another thing about touring, like Mark was saying, is that, for instance, Slaughter's based out of Las Vegas, Tuff, Warrant are based out of Los Angeles, and we've played the West Coast, every city 10, 15, 20 times. We're not always able to get to the East Coast, where you guys can see probably a lot more Skid Row shows, a lot more of Ted's newer band, older band, Danger Danger.
Thank you, I owe you another thing.
Boston, you got Extreme. So we're like, just for instance, the 6-day tour they just did was Denver, Salt Lake, Las Vegas, and stuff like that. We've played the West Coast a lot more because we're here, and to come all the way to the East Coast, even to do a couple dates, is a lot of expense because it's 3,000 miles away.
Okay, this is totally off the subject, and it might sound ridiculous. This is for Mark. I have been asked to ask you to do the Donald Duck sneeze for us, if you would.
If only Disney would have looked at me this way, I'm telling you. No, actually, it's crazy, not to get off on the subject, I auditioned for Donald Duck. I was in the top 5 of 2,000 people. But they didn't want a long-haired guy like me doing Donald, I don't know why.
If Disney ever approached you about doing like a movie, like say something on the order of Aladdin or something like that, would you do that?
Yeah, I actually auditioned for Land Before Time 3, but I didn't get the voice on that. I did Animaniacs. I did one thing. My buddy Jess does Animaniacs. He's the voice of Wacko. He was here last night, and did you see Windsor Castle? Yeah. Okay. Remember the old mom is like an Anne Ramsey. Anybody see Throw Mama from a Train? Yeah. Check this out. Oh, it's the tea. Get out of here. So
As far as Donald Duck, hold on.
Oh boy! Here we are to Fab Four. Everybody have a great time? Oh yeah!
I would be very good to say I have a hotel in Las Vegas. Come out and join me, will you?
On that most uplifting note, I'd like to bring a close to this panel right now, but we're going to have some open discussion in the room right now for everybody. We're going to hang out. We've got another hour or two before the live bands start. If you have any other stuff you want to direct towards any of the members of the panel, I'm sure people are going to be hanging out here. So go up, slap them on the back of the head and say, I got to talk to you now. Thank you all, though, right now, guys. Let's hear it, huh? Thank you very much.